We are live in 3, 2, 1.
Police believe arson may be to blame for a fire that destroyed a brand new LDS Steak Center in St. George.
And I'm so happy because I got the iPhone red.
A new report says screen time may not be bad for kids.
I have a really fun job. I mean, we like what we do.
After missing 2 paychecks, furloughed government employees are back to work. Welcome to Newsline. It's Monday, January 28th, 2019. I'm Paula Kiko Chandler.
And I'm Madeline Reber. Federal employees are back on payroll, at least for now.
The agreement between lawmakers and the Trump administration temporarily funds the affected agencies, John Lawrence reports.
2019 started off rough for about 800,000 government workers.
We went a month without any sort of income or any sort of knowing what's going to happen next.
On Friday, President Trump agreed to reopen the government, which gets those employees back to work.
I have a really fun job. I mean, we like what we do.
However,
we're just hoping and praying that we're not going to be back in the same situation in 3 or 4 weeks.
The deal that ended the standoff only goes until February 15th. Republican and Democratic leaders have until then to come up with a border security proposal, and President Trump insists it includes money for his long-promised wall.
I don't think shutdowns are good leverage. It's a lesson I've certainly learned in my time here. There's been 2 shutdowns since the time I've been there, and the aggressor in neither one was the winner.
I'm certainly hope that we can get an agreement. It's been too long. Too many of our federal employees have suffered.
If lawmakers can't come up with a plan that funds a border barrier, President Trump says it's off to the races. The president says he may declare a national emergency and direct the Defense Department to start building a wall. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Today is the first day of Utah's annual legislative session. The general session began about 4 hours ago at the Capitol. The session legislators will tackle topics such as medical marijuana and the yearly state budget. The state budget has a surplus of $1 billion to spend during the upcoming 2019 legislature. There will be introductions of new staff members and discussions about the Utah law enforcement. The legislative session can be followed at Utah State Legislature's website, le.utah.gov. Hours after the Utah legislature opens its 2019 session, concerned supporters of a voter-approved measure to fully expand Medicaid are expected to rally to ask lawmakers not to change the law. Changes could delay the expected April 1st rollout for months or even years. That will leave many people without health care they have been counting on.
Jenny Wilson is the new mayor of Salt Lake County.
The main reason that I support Jenny is she comes in with experience. We need someone in the county who understands all of the various diverse communities that exist in Salt Lake County.
Wilson replaced Ben McAdams, who was elected to Congress. When McAdams left his office, the Democratic Party voted Wilson in. She and her supporters found out the results of the vote on Saturday. While in office, Wilson plans to help in ethnic reforms, criminal justice reforms, protect Utah's canyons and waterways, and all while staying in the county's budget.
The St. George Police Department investigated whether or not a newly built chapel for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was burnt down due to a crime. The St. George Fire Department responded to the fire just before 1:30 a.m. Saturday. St. George police say the fire may have started outside the church. The church's renovations were almost complete before the fire broke out.
A man's body has been recovered after getting caught in an avalanche in the LaSalle Mountains. The San Juan County Sheriff's Office says Scott Pearson Jr. was snowmobiling and got caught in the avalanche Friday. He was not found until Saturday around 4:30 p.m. by the search and rescue teams. Pearson's body was found buried under 6 feet of snow. A Layton man is dead after getting caught in an avalanche in Idaho Friday afternoon. Hawkins and 3 others were snowmobiling around Fog Mountain when they were buried by the avalanche. The 3 men Hawkins were with were able to make it out on their own, but Hawkins was overcome by the snow. Hawkins leaves behind a wife and 3 children.
Reports of stalking at BYU have increased dramatically in the past couple of years. Newsline reporter Lauren Neff has information on this trend. Lauren, how much have these reports gone up?
Well, Paula Kiko, BYU's annual security and fire safety report reveals an over 160% increase in stalking reports since 2015. I found out how BYU students and BYU police feel about this statistic.
When you hear the word stalking, what do you think of first?
Creepy guy in a trench coat following people around who don't want to be followed around.
I think it's super creepy. I think of people like following me around.
Think of just like when you're with your friends, they're like, oh, let's go stalk them, like on Instagram,
You know, anytime that we have somebody that is making contact with somebody that doesn't want that contact.
BYU and Utah law defines stalking as following, monitoring, observing, surveying, threatening, communicating, or interfering that would cause a person to fear for their safety or the safety of others, or suffer substantial emotional stress. These creepy acts are becoming more and more common at BYU. BYU stalking reports hovered around 13 in 2015 and 2016, but then spiked to 32 in 2017. Law student Danica Baird was one of the victims.
You can't really explain the level of invasion that you feel and the fear.
Baird received many threatening messages and pictures from an unknown stalker, and they only stopped when she took legal action.
You just feel so scared because you're like, who is this person? Where are they? Are they watching me right now? What are they going to do? Is this going to escalate?
Lieutenant Messick from BYU Police is optimistic about the increase in reports.
And I think people are being more educated into, I have a resource. They can come to the police department.
If students think that they might be being stalked, Lieutenant Messick has one piece of advice.
It's a situation where you want to come and have us help you out, which we're happy to do, then, the sooner the better.
Baird also has advice for stalking victims.
But if you have anything, document it. That's the only way I feel like they take you seriously.
If you feel like you are being stalked, you can contact BYU or Provo Police at the numbers on the screen. Back to you.
Thanks, Lauren.
One of the 5 suspects in the Fashion Place Mall shooting appeared in court this morning. 20-year-old Flaviano Aguilar made his first court appearance just 2 hours ago at the Matheson Courthouse. Aguilar is facing felony charges for obstruction of justice and causing a riot. A shooting happened in the Fashion Place Mall in Murray 2 weeks ago. 2 people were injured.
2 people are in the hospital after a driver lost control and hit a tow truck at the scene of an earlier crash in Spanish Fork Canyon. The accident happened around 8 o'clock last night. A car traveling northbound hit the tow truck. A 45-year-old woman in the car suffered critical injuries. The tow truck's driver's legs were fractured. Both lanes of the US 6 were closed, so a pair of medical helicopters could land. A man is in the hospital after the Corvette he was driving went off the road in the Virgin River Gorge. It happened Friday afternoon. The Littlefield Fire Department found the vehicle 150 feet below I-15. The 70-year-old man was transported to a nearby trauma center in critical condition. Investigators say speed was most likely the cause of the crash.
A new study from Oxford says that screen time may be no worse than eating potatoes for kids. Although this study comes from a legitimate source, many people are still skeptical about kids and screen time. Newsline reporter Lauren Schofield has the story. Lauren, how did researchers conduct the study?
The researchers looked at data from over 300,000 people, including parents and teenagers. They were from throughout the entire US and UK.
If it's not appropriately taught from the beginning, it can also, like anything, it can be used as an escape.
Headlines, such as mental health risk of screens no greater than wearing glasses, were written after Oxford University published this study. The study shows that 0.4% of adolescent well-being is related to screen use, which barely passes the negative effect of eating potatoes.
And I'm so happy because I got the iPhone red.
The study also compares the negatives of smoking marijuana and being bullied with screen time. Smoking marijuana had 2.7 times more negative effects, and bullying had 4.3 times more negative effects than screen time. But many parents still view screen time for their kids as mostly negative.
They're using a screen for all their babysitting, and the kids don't learn to interact as well as they should or with other people because the whole time they're just staring at that.
While the study didn't show huge negatives for screen time, the researchers say that more studies need to be done on this topic. Despite this study, the American Academy of Pediatrics came out with new screen time recommendations this year for kids. They recommend that parents with children 2 to 5 years old limit screen use to 1 hour per day. For kids ages 6 and older, the AAP says to limit media use and make sure it doesn't replace sleep or exercise. In the meantime, some parents continue to be cautious about their kids' screen time.
And so then instead of solving problems, kids get sucked into it and kind of use it as a coping mechanism, and that is never good because it shuts down conversation.
Whether you view screen time as negative or positive for kids, more studies need to be done on the topic to clearly define what group it belongs to. Back to you.
Thanks, Lauren.
2 bombs explode in the Philippines. We'll tell you what was targeted, damage caused, and who was affected.
I also happen to believe that the Hispanics should work harder at assimilation.
Tom Brokaw is under fire for statements he made on Meet the Press, what he now says about the statements and how people are reacting.
The SAG Awards were handed out last night, the best highlights, winners, and what people are saying.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. How does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Three people are dead and at least 170 others injured in a tornado that hit Havana on Sunday. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel visited the area hit by the tornado. The government says the strong winds also caused flooding and damage to buildings. Cuban civil defense has asked people to remain indoors during the overnight hours. A double bombing at a Catholic church in the Philippines killed at least 20 people and wounded more than 80 others. The attack happened in Jolo, a town in the predominantly Muslim Mindanao region in the south of the country. The military says the first device exploded inside the church, then the second one went off outside. ISIS is claiming responsibility, but authorities have not confirmed this.
Tom Brokaw is apologizing for comments that he made about Hispanics and assimilation on NBC's Meet the Press on Sunday.
You know, that they ought not to be just codified in their communities, but make sure that all of their kids are learning to speak English and that they feel comfortable in the communities.
Brokaw took to Twitter to apologize and clarify his comments. He tweeted, quote, "I feel terrible. A part of my comments on Hispanics offended some members of that proud culture." Samsung is working to be more green. The largest smartphone maker in the world, based in San Jose, California, is getting rid of new plastic packaging that's often used to protect electronic items. Officials say they'll soon wrap appliances and devices in an environmentally friendly fashion with paper, pulp molds, and recycled plastic. This includes small products like phones, but also their large home appliances like washing machines and TVs.
The 25th Annual Screen Actors Guild Awards were given out last night.
And the actor goes to.
We'll tell you who took home honors and at the awards ceremony.
Yes, I'm a movie fanatic. I've watched so many movies.
The Sundance Film Festival is officially underway. We've got the latest on what people are saying and movies to look out for.
While we have sunshine and comfortable temperatures for January here, the Great Lakes are having a more traditional winter. I'll tell you why that is when we get back.
That the projections need to be earthquake. Next Thursday?
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at savethefood.com.
The 34th Annual Sundance Film Festival is underway in Park City, and many people spent the weekend stargazing on Main Street.
Reporter Bella Vaughn went to the festival. Bella, did you see any of your favorite stars?
Unfortunately, I did not see Zac Efron, who's here for his film Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile, but there was still a lot to see and the energy was electric.
Every year, the Sundance Film Festival transforms Park City Main Street into a hub of movie magic.
When it swells for Sundance, there's something about the electricity in the air that it's just kind of contagious.
As you walk down Main Street, thousands of people all around the world pass you by. Tourists, dreamers, filmmakers, actors, and actresses alike. The festival has featured critically acclaimed films since 1985, and there are highly anticipated films this year, including one about the infamous serial killer Ted Bundy.
Did you do these things?
Absolutely not.
I really like the Ted Bundy one, obviously. That's coming out, extremely vile, and I don't know the long name.
There are many people involved in the festival who are anxious to talk about their movies.
It's the story of two Turkish brothers that have just recently moved to New York, and they're both undocumented immigrants, and one of them gets into trouble with the authorities.
You might even run into Backpack Kid, also known as the guy who invented the floss dance.
I'm trying to just network, I'm trying to transition into acting, so I'm just trying to, Sundance, it just makes sense.
But no matter who you are or why you're there, everyone hopes they'll be lucky enough to spot a celebrity.
I'd love to run into Bill Murray.
They're on a rush, swarms them, and then they're gone. So you have no idea who just passed you.
BYU professor Robert M. Graham had a big weekend at the festival where his film short, The Miners, premiered.
The festival runs through February 3rd, but if you miss it this year, they already have the date set for 2020. The festival will be held from January 23rd to February 2nd next year.
Thanks, Bella.
The SAG Awards were handed out last night.
Ali Arnold joins us with how the big winners and reactions from the event. Ali?
The SAG Awards have wrapped up and social media is commenting like crazy. Best performance by a cast in a movie went to Black Panther. Rami Malek won Best Male Actor in a Leading Role for his performance in Bohemian Rhapsody. Best performance by a female actor in a leading role went to Glenn Close for the movie The Wife. For TV, Jason Bateman won Best Male Actor in a Drama Series for his role in the TV series Ozark. And Best Performance by a female actor in a drama series went to Sandra Oh in Killing Eve. The TV show The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel also deserves a shout out for sweeping the comedy category. People are raving about Black Panther's win for outstanding performance by a cast in a motion picture, as this film was a cultural phenomenon. One user wrote, Chadwick Boseman out here preaching about what it really means to be young, gifted, and Black. I am in full sobs. People are also gushing over Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. Blunt won Outstanding Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role for her performance in The Quiet Place. Blunt praised Krasinski in her speech, and Krasinski cried happy tears. Patrick Gomez captured everyone's feels by tweeting, me watching John Krasinski watching Emily Blunt win on #SAG Awards. Back to you.
Thanks, Ali.
The Utah Special Olympics hosted their annual Polar Plunge fundraiser at the Sheraton Hotel pool. Their annual festivities included a costume contest, dance-off, and their polar plunge. Athletes and their sponsors jump into a pool filled with water just above 32 degrees to fundraise for money for Special Olympics. The donations go directly to the athletes to support the cost for their activities and equipment.
We need uniforms, socks, cleats, that kind of stuff.
The 2019 donations totaled just over $11,000. Utah Special Olympics looks forward to this year, every year, and opportunities the donations open.
The Ninja Playground opened in Lehigh and celebrated with free gym admissions to its gym. Hundreds of families lined up in the cold for over an hour to get into the Ninja Playground. The new indoor gym offers a variety of obstacle courses ranging from beginning ninja to advanced ninja. The gym's owner, Wally Ross Kelly, says that the Ninja Playground is the most fun anyone can have in Utah.
This is the obstacles like you would see just on American Ninja Warrior. I don't know if I can say that. We've had at least 15 Ninja Warriors from the show.
Utahns of all ages can sign up for classes and train to be the next Ultimate Ninja Warrior.
Minnesota got a large amount of snow while an Arctic blast is going through the Great Lakes area. You can see people struggling as they walk through all the snowfall. Some of these show the snow coming down so much it obscures most vision. What is most notable, though, is how cold it is. It's hitting -8, and that might be some of the warmer temperatures for them this week. As we move to the map, you can see the Arctic blast is coming down from Canada and sweeping across there. That blue right there that you're seeing is snowfall that's going to hit the Great Lakes and then move on to the East Coast. Meanwhile, over here in Utah, we're pretty much in the clear for most of the week, but you can see a little bit of a storm front forming over on this side. The rain's going to come through, and we'll actually probably see some snow at the beginning of next week. As we look at these temperatures, actually, this light pinkish color is actually -10, and this is the highs. So their highs are going to be around -10. Moving to our highs, we can see that we're going to be around 37, 35 in Salt Lake and Provo. Logan and Vernal are right below freezing. And St. George is at a whopping 59 degrees, so it's going to be pretty nice. Might be a good time to take a little trip down there. Moving on to our lows, however, we can see that Vernal and Logan are at an 8 and a 10. Meanwhile, Salt Lake City and Provo, 24, 20. And even St. George is going to get down to a 36. Moving on to our 5-day forecast. We can see that we're going to have mainly clouds down in St. George. There's going to be a little bit of sunshine breaking through during the days, whereas on Saturday it's going to switch to some rain. You're going to see a lot of that. Most of the highs, though, are around the 50s. Northern Utah, on the other hand, we're going to have mainly some sunshine and things like that. There might be a chance of rain before Saturday, so be aware of that. As we do go into this next coming week, though, you will want to keep a coat, keep some gloves. While the temperatures will be generally pretty good, it will dip down to some cold.
Absolutely. Coming up, the Utah Jazz continued their hot streak this weekend. Find out how they have been playing. Also, 19-year-old skate phenom Nathan Chen had a great big weekend. Find out how great he was coming up.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
The Utah Jazz have continued to stay hot this weekend as they played back-to-back games against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Following a 106-102 victory over the Timberwolves on Friday night, the Utah Jazz traveled to Minnesota to face them once again on Sunday. With a 72-point second half and 29 points from Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz ran away with back-to-back wins over the Timberwolves, giving them their 9th win in 10 games. The Jazz will play the Portland Trailblazers on the road on Wednesday. The Jazz aren't the only hot team in Utah. The BYU women's basketball team won their 11th straight game this weekend and is starting to make some noise nationally. Following a win over top 25 ranked Gonzaga, BYU women's basketball took UCSD this past Saturday. This now puts the Cougars at 17-3 on the season and 9-0 in conference play. BYU will stay on the road as they face Loyola Marymount this Thursday. Salt Lake City figure skating phenom Nathan Chen won his 3rd straight title at the U.S. Figure Skating Championship this weekend. The 19-year-old was the biggest name in skating coming into the event, and he did not disappoint. With a score of 342.22, Chen was able to take home the gold with ease. This win is Chen's 3rd in 3 years and seems to have no signs of slowing down. Chen plans to continue skating while studying at Yale. It's a sad day for New Orleans Pelicans fans and a busy day for any NBA team that wants and can afford All-Star Anthony Davis.
AD straight away, a triple. Got it! Timeout, Doc Rivers.
Davis's agent Rich Paul informed the New Orleans Pelicans this morning that the All-NBA forward will not sign a contract extension this summer and has also requested a trade. Davis is eligible for a $240 million Supermax extension next summer if he were to stay. However, it is reported that Davis wants to win now. The top candidates to land Davis would be the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. Boston, however, would need to trade away their all-star point guard Kyrie Irving. It has also been reported that the Lakers are determined to acquire AD in a deal. Davis is 25 years old, averaging near 30 points per game, and leads the NBA in PER. We'll be right back.
Truth is, I'm impressed. I haven't been asked such intelligent questions in a long time. Nice.
These are cool. Did you, what did you...
What?
You can give your sweetheart a sweet message on a sweet item. Krispy Kreme Donuts is unveiling a new conversation donuts. The company is selling its products with purchased phrases written on them just in time for Valentine's Day. Among these messages are "Be mine," "All the feels," and "DM me." These edibles heart-shaped treats featured 4 flavors inside: cake batter, chocolate cream, raspberry filled, and strawberry and cream. The donuts make their debut on Wednesday and are available up till Valentine's Day.
Krispy Kremes can never be too sweet.
I know. I thought that was a great idea.
Thanks for joining us today for Newsline.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu/Newsline.
Have a great day.